With only 3 races remaining in the season, we welcome you to tonight's broadcast of the Fuel Racing League here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Tonight, it's the Fuel Moonshine Midsummer Classic live from the North Wilkesboro Speedway. A pleasant good evening to everybody tuning in to tonight's broadcast here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Live, and we're back at the Boro for the first ever time here for points-paying race in the Fuel Grand National Series here on your home for the Fuel GN, the North American Sim Racing Network, and live here on YouTube. My name is Trey Wright, doing a lap-by-lap. We've got a 3-man booth here for this evening. We've got Crystal Bennett doing the driver color commentary along with Kenny Campos here tonight. And guys, with only 3 races left in the season, it's going to be a fun race here tonight at this 5/8 of a mile Little Bull Ring in Wilkes County, North Carolina. We're here for the first time in GN history, like we're talking about, as NASCAR will be getting ready to make its grandiose return to points-paying competition here this weekend as well. We are so glad to be here in Wilkes County.
Right you are, Trey. I'm very excited to be back in the booth here. Had a great run last week. And in all honesty, this points battle was kind of just blown open. We've gone from Goss leading to Apollo back to Goss. Now it's back to the 100 of Apollo Hyde by 3 points going into tonight.
It definitely is. You can take a look at those point standings after race number 8 of the season, after a relatively chaotic race 1 week ago at the Anchorage Superspeedway up in Alaska. Apollo Hyde leads by 3 points over Will Goss, and those two have pulled away a little bit from Vincenzo Focusato and Drew Fast. Both those drivers having some issues relatively in the Endless Pride 150 1 week ago at Anchorage. Mike Durbin will round out the top 5. Millennium Autosport, we're looking for just a little bit of our last couple of runs here tonight, especially. You got Dunlap, not sure if he's going to be on the grid here tonight. We got 21 cars on the grid so far. We're expecting about 22. Crystal, you were able to gain 3 spots in the standings, up to 7th in the standings here. Coming into tonight, RJ Bishop, Tyler Stallhut, and Grant Warren round out the top 10. But tonight is our only race of the season, if I'm not mistaken, where we've got heat races to figure out the qualifying order, as that was Victor Nunez got. Let's say we'll call it a Ed Soundhead-esque ask pact there between turns 3 and 4. This is a little bull ring. This is a classic bull ring we've got here in North Wilkesboro. Like we were talking about, it's only 5/8 of a mile at this, one of the founding tracks here for NASCAR. Take a look at the track itself. It's a little bit oblong shaped here, with turns 1 and 2 being a little bit sharper than turns 3 and 4. But the main defining feature of this track is the elevation. You're downhill going down the front straightaway, you're uphill going down the back straightaway. Kenny, it takes a very certain level of talent to be able to competently drive this track, but to win here, we're going to be seeing a couple of guys up towards the front that have definitely got a lot of talent here at NR, and it's going to take every ounce of that talent to get the job done here in Wilkes County today.
This is certainly will, and like you said, the track is built on the elevation, so it's not even ground like Martinsville. So you're gonna expect some drivers to probably lose a bit of braking when either going up or down the hill, at least in the corners, from the different amount of elevation.
Indeed, you got Josh Moyers in the frame, making his 2nd start of the season after getting a 3rd place run at the Chicagoland Speedway 2 weeks ago. In that Alsco Uniforms Camaro, he's currently top of the charts here in practice with a 19.194. Looking at that format, like we were talking about earlier, this is going to be dipping things up into 2 25-lap heat races. If you watched our race at Dover last year, or a couple of seasons ago, as a big wreck on the back straightaway, Moyers is just going to thunder his way through. But also at the dirt tracks as well as Canandaigua last season. Basically, the way we set the grid, we've got 22 25-lap heat races. Heat number 1 is going to set the feature for the inside lane, and the winner of that heat will get a bonus point towards the championship. So that is going to be really integral for a guy like Will Goss, who's a little bit more towards the pack in that 82 car. Right now, currently sitting in 9th right now with the 21 cars that have put down a lap. But you're going to be getting A bonus point if you win the race or win your heat race of 25 laps. Every single lap counts, so including caution flags. And the main race here for tonight is going to be a 75-lap feature. Take a look at the projected race analysis. Right now we've got a projected amount of 22 cars starting on the grid. That will likely change the longer we get into here. I think we saw Tate Dorsey was going to be coming into here. And of course, Crystal, you're currently doing some laps right now, so you'll be parking that 84 Charger to hop officially back up here in the broadcast booth. But tire wear is not going to be as big of an issue as we initially thought it was, and neither was the fuel. These guys are going to have to make at least one pit stop here tonight. They can do, if everything goes right, we remain caution-free, which I really don't know if that's going to be the case. That would be incredible if we did, but they're going to have to make a pit stop if we go caution-free. That's going to make the very end of this race uber interesting, the fact that they can go just about 5 laps short of the advertised distance. You just never know when drivers are going to be able to, how drivers are going to be able to get around this track. You even saw with Joshua Moyers just now. Top of the charts, back end just swings out there. Looks like he's probably going to drop the panner bar a little bit to tighten up that 68 machine. You just never know with a track like this with tons of character. 14 degrees of corners in the banking, a little bit steeper than Martinsville, but it's just how old this track is, especially with this version of North Wilkesboro. The old 1996 version, we're going back 30 years in the past here in the Fuel Racing League tonight. And Crystal, it's going to be a ton of fun, especially with these heat races coming up.
Oh, it's going to be great. And North Wilkesboro is a track that kind of lures you into a false sense of security. It's a disgustingly evil track. It makes you think you know what you're doing, and when you think you're starting to get a hang of it, it just throws everything in the kitchen sink at you, and you're really left with maybe 3 options here. You either set the car up for the tighter turns 1 and 2 and sacrifice your 3 and 4, or you go for turns 3 and 4 and have the car plow out a turn 2, or you try and you fail at trying to make the car balance towards both turns. So I am seeing a mix of all 3 setup strategies here tonight, and it will be fun to see what ends up prevailing here as we get into the heats.
Oh, it definitely will be, especially, you know, the fact that this is an open setup division here for the Fuel Racing League, so everybody is doing their best to try and tinker with what track bars you're putting in, how much you're setting the the panner bar at, you know, whatever you're just trying to do, what you're setting your sway bar at, you know, what springs you're using, what shocks, just trying to balance out your car as best as you can. This is a flatter, short track version of Darlington, if you will, where you're just, the 2 ends of the track are just diametrically apart when it comes to how you race them. You know, talk about turns 1 and 2. You know, you're getting a little bit on the brake, a little bit more through the opening set of corners. It's a little bit tighter of a radius. It's not to the naked eye, you can tell, but when you're racing here at about 125, 150 miles an hour, you can definitely tell that these guys are just very, very gingerly driving around turns 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. That's the sweeping corner. So, like we said, a little bit like the Darlington Raceway, is Victor Nunez just gonna pound both sides of the wall with under a minute to go here in practice. But guys, I know it's a little bit early and we still are missing a couple of entrants here tonight. We know that Tate Dorsey usually comes in late. We expect our All-Star Race winner, Randall Coleman, to potentially be on the grid here tonight as well. But, you know, just as a preemptive prediction for you guys, you know, who do you see going to victory lane here tonight for the first annual Fuel Moonshine Midsummer Classic here tonight at the Boro?
Should I start first?
You go first, Kenny.
I shall say Joshua Moyers, maybe, I'm pretty sure, or either that or Vincenzo Focusano. But you can probably say Apollo Hyde, who's still up in the top 5 in the practice laps. It really just depends on how things will go on the race, however.
Little bit biased with my selection here, but I'm going to give the nod to the Fora Drew Fast. He's been he has been really hard at work here for a few days now, trying to perfect the setup, and I think he's finally getting it to a point that he is almost comfortable just throwing it into the turns and it sticks. So I think he will be a strong contender here tonight.
Well, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm going to go with the driver of the 48 NOS Energy Machine. He's not on track right now, but RJ Bishop historically has loved these short tracks here tonight, has these short tracks in his career, as
Drivers,
we're going to
to
go
your
ahead
cars.
and get things set up here for the heat races. But I'm going to be going with that 48 machine here tonight of RJ Bishop. His only career win coming on a short track. You know, it's a little bit of an unorthodox short track with the back straightaway at Daytona, but you know what? It's a short track regardless. And I got a good feeling that RJ Bishop is going to be getting the job done here tonight. We'll go ahead, get things reset. We'll enter the heat races for this evening. 225 lap heats here coming up in just a few moments. Here on the Project Short Track version of the 1996 version of the North Wilkesboro Speedway. We'll go ahead and get all that in here and right now. We have everybody coming out for one final little bit tune-up practice session. Go ahead and get our ticker recalibrated for the qualifying races. And it's going to be a fun one here tonight for a third and final race of the season. We'll go over the remaining schedule here on the other side of things, as they're going to go ahead and grid them up on the back straightaway right here and right now. So we'll quickly send things back downstairs for heat race number 1 here tonight at North Wilkesboro. Right here and right now. So we'll go ahead and wait for them to all grid up on track. Should be good to go for the time being. Actually, I believe we are in the middle of qualifying right now, so we are in the middle of qualifying, so we're going to get these guys go ahead and qualify their automobiles here for what should be about 23 entries on track here tonight. And Drew Fast on his opening lap, a 19.193. Randall Coleman, talked about him coming up here on track here tonight as well, running a 19.3, and then he runs a 19.227 on his second lap. But Drew Fast, you talked about it, Crystal, one of your guys in that Lap Car Enterprises 4-car, getting the job done. And RJ Bishop, by 1/1000th of a second, takes the proverbial pole away from Drew Fast. Wow, that was a flyer of a lap there from RJ, and he just beat out Drew by only a 1/1000th of a second. It doesn't get any closer than that, guys. Jeez Louise. So 17 cars putting down a lap time with about 65 seconds to go here in qualifying. 18 cars putting down a lap time. Tate Dorsey, first time we're seeing that 6-car in the server. He's going to currently round out the top 10 currently. The way things run right now with 19 cars putting down a lap time, make it 20 cars putting down a lap time. RJ Bishop and Drew Fast would be the front row. The way things stand right now, of course, we'll have to see how they will round out for the heat races here tonight with 20 cars. Looks like it will be 10 cars for heat 1 and 10 cars for heat number 2, but it looks like RJ Bishop is going to end up with the pole position here in heat number 1, and Drew Fast will get the pole position in heat 2 with 20 seconds to go. That should be just about everybody putting down a lap time. Looks like Blake Warren and Corbin Wentz, the two Warren Wentz racing drivers, will bookend will caboose the back end of the field with 10 seconds to go in queue. And that should very well do it. So RJ Bishop will lead the field to the green flag in heat number 1. Drew Fast will lead the field to the green flag in heat number 2. And it was absolutely close by 1/1000th of a second. Guys, I don't think I've seen a qualifying session that close in quite some time. Goodness me.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while, but I do remember seeing a couple ties for the pole a couple years let's put it that way.
Here's Drew Fast on board with that 4 car for a brief moment as we'll get our camera recalibrated. Trying to find our pole sitter, and there's Rich Roy back in the DuPont number 29 colors. And we will get a 5-minute happy hour session. So we'll go ahead and get the ticker updated for that. We got about 4 minutes to go here in happy hour. We'll take a look at the rest of the season schedule here in just a moment. With 3 races left, including tonight, we've got 2 short tracks remaining with North Wilkesboro here this evening, and then Iowa in a fortnight on Wednesday, July 29th. We'll round out the month of July down in Newton, Iowa. And in between then, of course, we're going to be at the Brickyard in 1 week's time here. That is going to be such a fun race from Indianapolis. I know both of our championship leaders are going to be yearning to drive at Indy. That's going to be a fun race, and of course, season number 10 on the horizon here in just about a month and a half's time. And taking a look at our upcoming broadcast schedule as well. Tonight is the first of our doubleheader here this week at the North Wilkesboro Speedway with the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series' opening race of the chase. For segment number 2 will be Sunday, July 19th here at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time during the Window World 450 here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, the NASCAR Cup Series' first foray back in North Wilkesboro for a points-paying race in just over exactly 30 years' time. Of course, it's a trifecta of races at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in a week as well, with the Fuel Grand National Series. The Mission Barbecue Cup Series will make its return after a 2-week break, and the Indianapolis Motor the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series will be back as well. And the Great American Big One the NR2003 Great American Big One qualifying races will be the only couple of events we've got in 2 weeks' time. Qualifying races from the Coca-Cola Super Speedway and the Grand Junction Raceway on Tuesday, July 28th at 6 and 9 Eastern Time, respectively. And then on Thursday, the 30th, the qualifying races from Daytona and Armory Digital will also be at 6 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, respectively. Plenty of action on the horizon here on the NESRN, both online and offline, as Randall Coleman putting down a 19.197 right now. And Will Goss is actually going to be swapping out his automobile. He's going to go back to the O'Reilly colors in that 82, so we'll get that number tag fixed up here to correctly correspond with it. And guys, we'll go back to that qualifying session. It's just a dead heat there between a couple of really good drivers. Drew Fast, we were talking about him. Crystal, how fast he was, and RJ Bishop, of course, still in that heat number 1 pole position away. I think it's going to be a duel between those guys here tonight.
We'll see. It depends entirely if we have long runs during the main and how their cars actually handle in the long run. But seeing that Randall's here now, he's actually throwing his head in the ring. That does scare me a little bit. I will admit I'm a bit scared that he's here now. So it's probably going to be a bit of a whooping if I had to guess.
Well, the good news or the bad news for Randall Coleman is that Joshua Moyers is also here. Of course, we've got plenty of alumni talent here from the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. If you caught our race on Sunday night here a couple of days ago, live from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, that went down in an absolute battle there. Of course, Joshua Moyers hoping for a little bit better of a result, that he doesn't have to door the Bulldog of Zach Rogers going into the final set of corners to get the win here tonight. Of course, Zach Rogers not on the grid, but Moyers is, Randall Coleman is, RJ Bishop, who was also in that race Sunday night, is here. Same thing with Tate Dorsey. And I haven't talked about Joshua Mercurio a whole lot tonight. Back in his first race in quite some time here. I think this is his first race since Chicago, I want to say Michigan from earlier on this season. Either Michigan or Nashville, the first race for that 99 car. But there is RJ Bishop bringing that NOS Energy Chevrolet Camaro back down the pit lane. He will lead the field to the green flag for heat number 1 here tonight, coming up in just a few short moments with 22 cars. getting ready to do battle here tonight. 11 will be gunning for the starting positions in duel number 1. 11 will be gunning for them in duel number 2 here tonight as well. It's Randall Coleman got the job done here in Happy Hour, running a 19.030. Just a wee bit faster than his qualifying time, I would say so myself, guys.
Drivers, to your cars. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double.
So as we get ready to grid them up here for heat number 1. Send things downstairs for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines for the opening heat race of the night here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And R.J. Bishop and Randall Coleman will both lead them to the green flag here. The cars that all qualified on the inside, getting ready to do battle here for 25 laps. Here tonight at North Wilkesboro, we send things down trackside for the command to fire the engines for heat number 1.
Drivers, start your engines.
And we are ready to roll for heat number 1 of the night. R.J. Bishop and Randall Coleman will be row number 1 here for this opening heat. You've got Jenzo Focusato and Tyler Stallhood in heat number 2. Tate Dorsey and Corey Stallhood will be in heat number row number 3. Rich Roy and Yahir Alvarado will be in row at number 4. Joshua Moyer did not put down a qualifying lap in the 68. He'll be back towards the back of the field along with Ike Durbin, Minnie Minister, and Blake Warren. As here we go, ready to lead them through the Geico restart zone as R.J. Bishop and the green flag out and away. Heat number 1 underway for the Moonshine Midsummer Classic here tonight at the Boro. And it's quickly door to door between the 48 and the 17. Way up the racetrack goes Randall Coleman. Trying to get the run on the outside. Is going to cross over R.J. Bishop down to the inside. That 48 car remaining out front strong right now. It's going to be 12 cars here in this opening heat of the night. Randall still right behind that 48 machine. A couple of Chevrolets and a Mazda gunning for the race lead. And now to the inside of the 48 comes the 17. Nearly side by side for the race lead. Vincenzo Focusato will remain back in third. We're still going to go side by side here for the race lead, and Coleman still just trying to find a ledge around that 48 car. You're on board with Vincenzo Focusato, and Randall Coleman only needed 4 laps to take the race lead away from the presumptive pole sitter. Coleman looking for a little bit of a repeat performance to what he had in the All-Star race back at the Dover International Speedway a couple of weeks ago. I don't think RJ's going to be giving up this race win without a fight here, this heat win without a fight, I should say. But Randall, you guys know just how strong this driver, this 17 car is. Only the second time, actually the third time we've seen him here on the NASRN. Last time we saw him here for the Fuel Grand National Series was about 3 or 4 weeks ago at that incredible race at Bent Twig, where we got a 16th place finish in that 17 car. Right now has led the last 3 laps on the night, and I believe no caution flag has not come out, will remain green. Meanwhile, Joshua Moyer starting to make his way up through the grid after starting this race in the 12th position, and he is already inside the top 5, just barely right now. Oh, trouble going around the 83. Blake Warren, self-spin at a turn number 4, and that Budweiser Camaro will do a quick
RJ
180.
also had a moment off too.
Another car in the wall. And a tough break for Blake Warren. He was running 12th at the time, so he'll remain in that 12th position. And the boss man for Warren Wentz Racing still having a rough season here in season number 9. It has not been the season that this organization would want. They're still winless as a group coming into race number 9 here tonight. Of course, R.J. Bishop trying to change that, but he is going to fall back a lot. You hear Alvarado loses it off turn 4 too. And it looks like Joshua Moyers also went around in the 68, so problems all over the racetrack. And
I think
Moyers,
some
who
of these
was running in 5th.
I think some of these drivers are braking a bit too hard coming into the corners, and some of them are just losing it just to try to make up time. And I will also say this: let's hope no one gets pushed into the pit wall coming into turn 3.
Yeah, that has always been a very awkward place to hit if you're a driver, as Bishop will fall back into the 5th spot. That'll bring Ike Durbin back inside the top 5. As Corey Stallhood being put a lap down with the 37 of Focusata moving to his inside, and Blake Warren also will be put a lap down too. You hear Alvarado, I believe, has retired from the race, and he has. So that will put Alvarado likely starting in the 23rd position for the main race here tonight, and Randall Coleman doesn't have a whole lot of cover behind him. Vincenzo Focusato currently out back by a second and a half. And already cross flags from the flag stand halfway home through heat number 1. Has not been a uneventful opening heat of the night, as RJ Bishop's going to pound the wall off turn 4. We saw it from a lot of drivers here tonight. You're going to hear that all evening long. Those rear tires squealing like pigs on all these cars. You know, Crystal, these guys are always really setting up with loose setups here tonight. Loose is fast on the verge and out of control, and here in North Wilkesboro, more likely than not, you're a little bit out of control.
Oh, absolutely. But I think a lot of your control has to do with the line. If you just look at Randall right here, he takes turns 1 and 2 vastly different from 3 and 4. 1 and 2, he enters a lot more shallow. He has a very shallow entry. He rides the paint, but 3 and 4, he sort of arcs it in later and has a later apex where he mashes the throttle and gets a great exit out of turn 4.
And he is utilizing that perfect line to slingshot himself up to a 2-second lead over Vincenzo Focusato, who's looking to start on the inside of road number 2 here for the main feature here tonight at 75 laps with 10 laps to go in heat number 1 on the night. And it looks like Randall Coleman, barring we don't get a caution flag in the next 9 laps or so, will be leading the field to the green flag here on the pole position. He'll be getting a point towards the championship. It's not going to mean too much here if you're that 17 driver, because, hey, it's only his second points paying race of the season so far. But, you know, aside from Apollo High, who's got 3 wins on the season, everybody else only has 1 win on the year so far. You know, up until that race at up until the race at Bent Twig, so race number 6 of the season, we had 5 consecutive races where we had different winning drivers. We had Will Goss only has the 1 win at Charlotte. Landon Lyle got the win over Don LaPrade at Chicago, or rather at Nashville. Jovan Anderson won at Michigan. Then Apollo Hyde won at Pocono, and Don LaPrade finally won at Long Beach. It took, you know, 5 races for us to finally get another winner, and of course Apollo Hyde winning 3 races so far this season has been nothing on short of rails, to say the least, here in 2026. So, you know, she's looking to gain her second championship in a row and 5th proper, if memory serves me right, in that 100 car. But she's going to have to do her work here tonight a lot if she wants to track down the 17 machine. And Crystal, like you're talking about, the line that the 17 car is running has been perfect, and I think Vincenzo is finally starting to pick up on it. He's been running a similar line to the 17 for these last couple of laps. You know what? He lost a 1/10 of a second to Randall that last time by, but Randall, with 4 to go, I should say, in this heat race, he is catching up to lap traffic. Tate Dorsey, Rich Roy, and Joshua Moyers on the horizon. Moyers is going to have to start a little bit deeper in the grid than he would like to in that 68 car. He's still looking for his first fuel win in the Grand National Series, if memory serves me right. Another long-time stalwart here in the NR2003 online community with 3 laps to go. Dorsey running the high lane. These 2 regular competitors at the Fast Racing League in the Renegade Pro Cup Series. 2 to go, as 17 of Randall Coleman will get the sticks high up in the air. Blake Warren around once again out of the turns 1 and 2. Coming around to take the white flag here in the opening heat of the night is Randall Coleman. 1 lap to go. He just about slides the car off turn 4. He's able to hold on to it. And that HendrickCars.com Chevrolet running on rails. You know what? Even though it's the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet, it's still the ColemanCars.com Chevrolet. Is that a turns 3 and 4? Heat number 1 and a bonus point towards the championship. Going to the 17 of Randall Coleman. As Rich Roy will wreck out coming across the start-finish line. That will do it for the opening heat of the night. And Randall Coleman will start from the pole position for the first annual Fuel Moonshine Midsummer Classic here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Could not ask for a better run than that. And Ike Durbin doing his best Dan Weldon impression in turn 1. That's how you know we're good to go here for heat number 2, guys.
Well, I think you know the song and dance at this point. If Heat 1 is the heat that runs caution-free, Heat 2 is probably going to be a bit more chaotic, so we'll see how this one plays out.
That's typically what we see here, and we'll go ahead and get things reset. But by the looks of it here, we'll go ahead and officially, the server will roll back, but it looks like Randall Coleman will start in the pole position. Vincenzo Focasato will start in third. And this will be the inside lane lineup here tonight. We'll go over it here in just a moment's time. But right now, we'll set things upstairs. We'll set things back downstairs for the command to fire the engines for heat number 2. Here in just a moment, but Randall Coleman, Vincenzo Focasato, Tyler Stallhood will be first, third, and fifth right now, with Minnie Minister will be starting in 7th. RJ Bishop will start in 10th or 9th. Ike Durbin will be in 11th. Joshua Moyers will start in 13th. Tate Dorsey will be 15th. Rich Roy will be 17th. Corey Stallhood 19th. Blake Warren 21st. And Yahir Alvarado in 23rd. Now it looks like we're going to go ahead and reset the server here one more time to get things
Drivers,
recalibrated.
to your cars.
Like you were talking about, Crystal, usually these heat races are a Jekyll and Hyde effect. With, one of the heat races is a little bit crazier than the other. And, that heat number 1, we did see our fair share of spins, all of them self-spins, a couple of them from Blake Warren, Joshua Moyers, and RJ Bishop going around. But there is a lot more hungry drivers in this grid. You look back at Drew Fast, he's going to be trying to hold off a hard-charging Apollo Hyde. He got Hyde and Will Goss. They are only separated by 3 points in the standings and only by a couple of car lengths here coming to the green flag. Joshua Mercurio, Victor Nunez, we know how hungry Nunez is trying to get the job done in that 88 car. Nicky Conti, Grant Warren, Ace Racer, Trek Togger, and the 11 of Corbin Wentz. The 11 cars.
Drivers, start your engines.
Now we'll take the green flag for heat number 2 here tonight. Fast and Fast and Hyde will lead the field to the green flag in the second heat race of the evening. You can see from our back straightaway cam, just the elevation we have here on the back straightaway. It goes uphill down the back straightaway, downhill down the front straightaway. But here we go for heat number 2 of the night. Drew Fast will lead them back through the Geico restart zone, and the green flag is out and away. Let's go racing for heat number 2. Fast gets the jump on the inside, goes up the track, endures the 100, and around goes Fast. That's going to clean out everybody. Grant Warren flipping.
Grant into the infield.
Well, somebody get the tarps for Grant Warren, and the caution flag flies right on the opening lap of heat number 2. And Crystal, what were you saying?
Well, what I'm saying right now is, come on, Drew, we can't be bending a chassis like this. I gotta watch my mouth.
Hey, you kept on to it. You held on to it there for a moment. Oh, we got to take a look at the replay of that before we do that.
And Joshua is smoking out there.
That is absolutely not what you want. And my mouse being glitchy is not what I want either. Well, that is a fine how do you do to start this race. And we're just going to start this right from the top.
Turn 1 and got perpendicular to the field, and it all kind of broke loose from there.
And so we'll just watch this just right from the top. I really think Drew he sent it into turn number 1 immediately. Well, Goss got into it. It looked like they were going to be getting it saved. Victor Nunez into it. Look at that 33 car flipping. Goodness me. I don't think I've ever seen a car flip like that here at North Wilkesboro in quite some time. And fortunately, nobody hit the pit wall, so a little bit better, I would say. I don't think I've seen anybody go into the infield quite like that. And of course, Mercurio, he is going to get some damage repaired. Grant Warren will start this race in the 22nd position. Actually, looks like so we have 22 cars. So we should have had 11 in heat number 1. I'm not sure why we had 12 and 10. But there's Victor Nunez. He's getting some repairs. Same thing with the pole sitter of Drew Fast. And like you were saying, Crystal, don't need to be bending up the chassis, not even a quarter of a mile into heat number 2, but that's exactly what happened, unfortunately. Well, here we go. So we're back underway. Green flag back out in the air, and it's Goss and Hyde side by side. This is going to be another interesting battle up at the front here.
We have someone severely off Ace towards the back. I think that's the 64.
It's Ace Racer. As Corbin Wentz up into the outside wall out of turn number 3. He's going to grab a gear, and Drew Fast trying to pace his way down to the inside of that 11 car. It's still going to take me a little bit of time to get used to Corbin Wentz driving the 11 machine as well. So used to him. I got used to him driving the 88, and he's going to self-spin in turn number 3. Does a good job of keeping that car pointed in the right direction. He'll drop back into 8th. But it's Goss and Hyde. Nose to tail right now. Hyde looking for a little bit of a run underneath that 82 car. We'll go on board with Apollo as she's got the inside of Goss. Goss, the Ohioan, versus Apollo, the Pennsylvanian. A couple of Union Battleground states. Drivers going side by side. Goss hanging tough on the outside lane. Hyde looking for the run on the inside, though. Goss has got the run. That 82 O'Reilly Chevrolet still out front. Hyde, though, she's going to get a little bit of a run off the corner. Same thing with the 82. They are still door to door as Ace Racers down the pit lane. How about Trek Togger in that 3rd spot? He and Nicky Conti racing really hard. They were both able to survive that opening lap chaos, and lo and behold, Drew Fast is already back inside the top 5 after causing the big one. And the caution, no. I thought the caution flag was out there for a brief moment.
Will Goss got by Apollo High at the moment, but
we have a
Apollo's not gonna give
2-for-1
up.
deal going on here too.
And you know what? Drew Fast, he's already cutting his way through everybody like butter. He's already back up to 3rd. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to catch Hyde and Goss. Is going to be the one thing I'm a little bit concerned about. But again, these two continue to go side by side. You know, Will and Apollo have not been shy about trading paint a couple of times here. They've kept everything relatively clean on track for now. You know, again, these are championship points. You know, I know Will, he's going to be hard charging, trying to get around that 100 car. You know, if something has happened to the 4 car, what happened to the 4 of Drew Fast? I believe he may have disconnected. Am I crazy, or is Drew not on the track?
No, I don't think he's there. I can't find him.
He must have had a fall. Yeah, there we go. There. Well, actually, no, that's Blake.
That was Blake.
All right, so I'm not seeing anything with the received throughput saying otherwise, but it is saying that Drew Fast is a lap down. Mercurio.
He's back. Tough luck for Drew.
All right, okay, so the received throughput did fall through for Drew Fast, and that is another unfortunate situation there. And Apollo Hyde is pulling away, way out of dodge here, coming around. 10 laps to go in heat number 2. Only 1 caution flag on the board so far. Corbin Wentz around in front of the leaders. And he's just going to keep that Chevrolet up to the high side. He is going to retire from the event, so that will move Drew Fast up another position. He's 2 laps down.
3-0. I don't think the game's scoring him yet. It's going to take another lap or 2.
Well, that is a tough break for Drew Fast. He was running in the 3rd position. We'll have to see if he'll get any of his laps back. But he'll likely be starting this race deep in the field, and it looks like our 2 front row sitters are likely going to be Apollo Hyde and Randall Coleman. But again, if you're Will right now, it's not what you want to see as Apollo Hyde, who was struggling in practice. You know, she was audibly complaining about the car and the setup, just trying to get the job done here in this 1-100 machine. You know, North Wilkesboro, she started out with an IRP setup here coming into tonight, was trying to tinker with it a little bit. And you know what, enough complaining and moaning out of a race car driver. You know, they could feel like their car is about as perfect as a wedge of cheese, and they'll still find a way to put a top lap on the board and have a successful run here in heat number 2, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of Apollo Hyde and this Idle Gateway Wolkmobile Subaru right now.
We have another retirement. Victor Nunez has seemingly given up in turn 3, just hooked his car to the right, then parked it by the outside wall.
So that'll be another few spots up here for Drew Fast to gain. And Fast will be indeed 1 lap down, so we'll get a couple of laps back, so that'll likely put him to qualify in the 14th position for tonight's feature race coming up here in just a few moments. But coming around to 5 to go, make it 4 to go this next time by here in heat number 2, and Apollo Hyde currently with a 3-second advantage over
Drew's
Will
in the
Goss.
pits.
And Drew Fast down in the pit area, I believe he is likely going to park it as well.
Well, that leaves Ace to get Ace to get his Drew's spot.
So Ace Racer will be qualifying in the 12th position here tonight as Apollo Hyde will move underneath the 99 of Joshua Mercurio, who, despite smoking after the opening quarter of a mile, the way things right now, he's still going to qualify inside the top 10 with a top 5 running here in heat number 2, as the 99 is going to slide the rear end tires out of turn 2.
He'll have a lot of work to do on that car, though. Reporting that he's down on power right now coming to the end of this heat.
That is going to be a tough break for him. It sounds like that 99 is definitely down a cylinder. The pitch is just a little bit off, and he's going to spin in the apex of 1 and 2. That's right in front of our camera in turn 2.
He retired.
Well, commentator's curse striking there as Apollo Hyde will take the last lap here in heat number 2. Trek Togger has fallen back a little bit, but he's fallen back into the 4th spot. Nicky Conti will get a top 6 starting spot here tonight. But out of turns 3 and 4, add another point to the championship total for Apollo Hyde, and off the final corner. Heat number 2 will go to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania's Apollo Hyde, and that will set the grid for tonight's race. Here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, Apollo Hyde will gain the outside pole position to the right-hand side of Randall Coleman. Will Goss, Nicky Conti, Trek Togger, Ace Racer will round out the top 10 here tonight. Joshua Mercurio, Drew Fast, Victor Nunez, Corbin Wentz, and Grant Warren, the other 5 cars, will qualify for the race here this evening. And that
Adding more to the 99 of Joshua Mercurio, his engine failed and locked the rear tires up on him there coming to the end of that heat.
What do we say about the commentators' drinks, guys? Never fails. It's like self-doubt. It never fails.
About it.
So with the pace car out and away right now, we'll go ahead and likely reset the server. And we will indeed, I believe we should be good to go here. Actually, yeah, we are going to be good to go, because I forgot everybody is going to have to go ahead and get in their starting positions anyway. So here is the starting lineup for tonight's race. Randall Coleman and Apollo Hyde will be on the front row for tonight's 75-lap feature event, With Vincenzo Focusato and Will Goss in row number 2. Tyler Stallhood and Nicky Conti will round out the starting 6. Mini Minister and Trek Togger will be in row number 4. And rounding out the top 10, RJ Bishop and Ace Racer. Here tonight with 22 cars on the board here this evening.
Oh, I accidentally made the oopsie for a bit. I accidentally pressed the drive button.
That is not something we want to do, but
Drivers,
force a
It
habit.
start your
It shouldn't
engines.
actually register on the broadcast, will it?
Oh, you should be fine. So we'll go ahead. Everybody will get in their respective starting positions before we'll take the green flag. For Randall Coleman. And we might... Randall Coleman's just going to go ahead and get a little bit slowed up here, but here we go. Everybody will get in their respective positions. Wouldn't be surprised if we throw another caution flag while everybody gets gridded up here as the pace car is down the pit lane. They're approaching the green flag. Truck Talker will race back in line. Same thing with Ace Racer. And we indeed are going to go ahead and get one more pace lap as Victor Nunez will come into the server here in the 88, so he will join the field. And Nunez will be out and away along with Grant Warren, so we'll get one more parade lap here before we'll be off and running for race number 9 of the season. Taking a look at the race analysis once again, it's going to turn into a 74-lap race. Essentially, we might get one more lap added, or might get one lap taken away from everybody else here. But the point of no return, 5 laps to go at this oblong racetrack of the North Wilkesboro Speedway. But the fans going wild as the field will head towards turn number 4. 22 cars on the grid. What a spectacle we've got here tonight for the first annual Fuel Moonshine Midsummer Classic. Green flag officially out in the air. Let's go racing at the Boro. Great start for Randall Coleman, and a big checkup back in there and a sideways around. That's Rich Roy. He's going towards the pit area. Somehow kept it off the attenuator. I believe that's going to be our opening caution flag of the night. It is not just yet. And Rich Roy with not the best start to the race that you would want in that
Yellow
number
is now.
29 car. The yellow flag will officially fly, and you hear Alvarado will go around in turn 2. So just about as chaotic of a start to the race as we expected here, guys. And Rich Roy, as well as Yahir Alvarado, will bring out the opening caution flag of the night. And Victor Nunez will be the free pass. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you get things going here to start off a race in North Wilkesboro. We'll take a look at the replay real quick.
That was a close one between the 71 and the 29. From Old was hitting the pit wall, and who was it? The 45, if I remember correctly. Yes.
We'll take a look. That all start with Ace Racer checking up on the outside lane, and Yahir Alvarado forced it in the 29, nearly up into the barrels. Unfortunately, Rich was able to drive around and point the car back in the right direction. And here's what happened with Alvarado going into the corner, and he simply just overdrove the corner and sent the back end of the car screaming into the outside wall. We'll get one more look at things here. We'll focus along with the 29 in full. You can see they were 3 wide already as Racer was trapped on the outside lane. Just a little bit of a pinch, and they went 4 wide there for a brief moment. I really thought that Rich Roy was going to go upside down there, but fortunately, he remained upright. And we'll see Alvarado just lock up the car going into turn 1 and spin that car around, just overdriving it a little too deep, and around he goes. And that is how we'll be under our first caution flag of the night. And we only had a handful of drivers come down the pit lane. We had RJ Bishop, Mike Durbin, and Yahir Alvarado along with Victor Nunez down the pit lane. Nunez, like we're talking about, will be the lucky dog after starting this race from the pit area. Nunez will drop to the tail end of the field to gain the lucky dog spot. RJ Bishop is back down the pit lane trying to put Some more adjustments on that 48 car as the field is heading towards the choose cone. And look who has already gained about 8 spots ever since the start of the race. Joshua Mercurio inside the top 10. He'll be on the inside of row 4 in the 7th position, right behind the 82 of Will Goss. So Revolution Motorsports making their appearance known here tonight. Of course, Randall Coleman has led the opening 5 laps of the race. So we get this race restarted here on lap number 7. Make that Apollo Hyde has led 1 lap, but 5 of these laps being led by the 17 machine. Mercurio back in, rather Joshua Moyers back in position number 7. On the inside of row number 4, and here we go, back through the Reese's restart zone. Goes the grid, and the green flag is back out and away. 22 cars thundering off towards turn 1.
We already got a car in the wall back there. I think that's here.
You hear, yes.
You hear Alvarado is going to drop back a little bit more in the 71
Oh,
machine, and we got problems, and we got 1 car upside
Huge
down.
wreck.
We might have more cars upside down. That's Vincenzo Focasato sliding on his roof down the front straightaway. He's going to get a little bit of an assistance there from the teammate of Ike Durbin. And the 2 Millennium Autosport Mazdas making some contact there. He's going to put the 37 car right on the right back direction. But already under caution number 2 of the evening, and that all got started when Focasato broke sideways off 4, and he was sliding on his roof for a pretty penny there, guys.
Vincenzo had help there, I think.
Yeah, he got pushed by Will Goss.
Caution number 2 already out. And it's something about these short tracks here in season number 9. We saw it at Bent Twig. We didn't really get a whole lot of green flag racing up in Vermont for that race as Coleman led them back to the start-finish line. We'll take a gander at what happened here as Mini Minister was just on the tail end of the lead lap.
It looks either Vincenzo must have slowed up a little bit too much, and then Will just didn't have anywhere to go, and then the big push.
Well, Focasato was running those a little bit similar of a line to what we saw with Randall earlier, and there was just nowhere to go for Mini Minister. I really thought that Nicky Conti was also going to jump the pit wall there for a second, but how about Ike Durbin? Giving his teammate a little bit of a love tap to send him right back up, and that is very unfortunate for Vin, though, because, you know, he's currently 3rd in this championship battle. Rather, make that 4th in this championship battle, and a result like that, ironically getting punted out of the way by the man 2nd in the point standings, is not going to help things a lot. We'll get another look at it, and just nowhere for Minister to go. Unfortunately, that could have been a lot worse. Could have had a couple of cars jumping over the wall. We see a bunch of Warren Wentz racing cars around in there. We saw Nicky Conti, Grant Warren, Victor Nunez. They're all making some contact in the back, and it doesn't look like there's too much damage on that 37 machine. He'll likely go down a lap, though.
All things considered, I don't think Vincenzo has engine damage here either. Or maybe he does. Looks like they shut it off for a second, but his car seems to be mostly fine. Looks like it was just an easy slide on the roof.
We'll get the choose cone this next time by here, as both Millennium Autosport cars, actually 2/3 the Millennium Autosport trio, will be out and away, and that is now hitting the team killer there for the Millennium Autosport Mazdas. Of course, Rich Roy bringing out the opening caution of the night. He's rebounded a little bit well, just outside the top 10, and about the 13th position will be the 14th position, restarting on the outside lane. Like we're talking about, Joshua Moyers driving his way through the fire and the flames. He started this race very deep in the field, like we said. He started in 13th, and he's already made his way to 4th. Tyler Stolhood will be the inside of row 2. Corey Stolhood on the outside of row 3 with Joshua Mercurio rounding out the top 5. But still Randall Coleman. Moyers very wide off the corner. Green flag out and away. Not sure what happened with the 68. Something wrong with that Chevrolet. Not sure what the deal was there. He's going to break loose into the wall. Corbin Wentz fishtailing around. And we're back under the caution flag as another big wreck coming out here. I don't know what happened as Drew Fass is around in turn 3. I have no idea what happened to Joshua Moyers, but he is going to be knocked out of the race after that. Wow.
There were about 3 different wrecks that happened there in the span of about 5 seconds, so it's kind of hard to keep track of everything there.
So another crash is immediately off for the restart, and I believe that's going to be our, we're going to get a restart, our third restart of shame. But that is big for Joshua Moyers, who I believe has indeed retired from the event. No, he disconnected. So that was a very weird disconnection. I don't think I've ever seen that here.
With how he spun around there off of 2 or going into 3, there is no one around him. I wonder if his connection net coded him around into the outside wall.
Well, this immediately started just right off of the restart. You know, not even off the restart. You know, this started coming to the green flag. He just went dead straight. So I think that's where the disconnection, the disconnection started.
Maybe where it started.
He was very slow coming up to green. He lost about 2 or 3 spots, and then you just watch him buck around here.
It just...
And then Corbin Wentz just got sideways, and that was just a chain reaction crash that took out everybody. And then he just alt F4 the server. Very, very weird scenario. And, you know, North Wilkesboro, like we were talking about, it's a very weird track. A lot does tend to happen. You know, and I feel like that would not have been a caution flag if I think it was just Corbin just reacting a little bit worse. And, the 45 and the 4, they both got sideways. So Drew Fast, once again, having some problems in that Valvoline Charger.
It looks like the 45 just ran him over. Drew got spun around completely. Banking took him down the track into the 60 at Trek, and really unfortunate right there for all the parties involved.
So Joshua Moyers will restart from the back end of the grid. He will be likely 1 lap down. Looking for the free pass after all of that, so we're already 18 laps into the event, nearly a third of the way there. 14 laps ran under the caution flag so far, with Randall Coleman still out front, has led 16 of the 17 laps so far tonight. He, Apollo Hyde, Joshua Mercurio, Tyler Stolhood, and Tate Dorsey, the top 5, going right back through the gearbox. Green flag back out of the way here at the Boro. And a great restart on the inside for Randall Coleman, and I know that he is going to be hoping we get another caution flag. Ace Racer sideways in turn 1. Mini Minister on the outside wall 2. RJ Bishop swapping paint with the 71 of Hero Alvarado, and Bishop into the outside wall. He got tagged by the 11 of Corbin Wentz.
We stay green for now, and I thought we were supposed to be single file that restart.
I'm guessing because that first caution flag was technically not a restart crash. Since they did make it around for a lap, so we're 1 incident off the restart away from a restart of shame. I know that Randall was hoping for a quick caution there so we get single file restarts, but right now Coleman with about a 5-car length lead over the 100 of Hyde. And like you were talking about, Crystal, just watching this line the 17 car is running has been amazing compared to the run that Apollo was trying to get there off the corner. You know, Randall running very shallow in turns 1 and 2 like you were talking about, running low to middle in 3 and 4. Apollo just trying to track down that 17 car.
The late arc he has here, he arcs it in so much later than everyone else. It lets him put the power down so much earlier, and he gets the run off of 4.
Well, it's not necessarily the Arc of the Covenant, it's the Arc of the Coleman through 3 and 4 as Hyde now in a battle with Joshua Mercurio back in here. We'll go on board with the 99. Take you for a couple of laps around the North Wilkesboro Speedway as Joshua Moyers back up here with these drivers. And he is currently, where is that 68 car? He's somewhere. Put it at that.
Is he even still at North Carolina?
He is currently in the 12th position. Randall Coleman starting to ease things out a little bit ahead of Apollo Hyde. Was the gap remaining stagnant about 7 car lengths between the 17 and the 100. Of course, Randall looking for that first points-paying win of the season, and Joshua Mercurio, memory serves me right, he doesn't have any wins.
Oh, we got a
To his
spinner in
credit-
the back. 2 cars, 3 cars. Wait, we
That's a
have
whole
a car
calamity.
in
That's a
turn
lot of
4.
cars. Mini Minister, Blake Warren, Ike Durbin, Corey Stallhood, Trek Togger trying to drive through there. He's just going to
Close.
pinball into the 22. Nicky Conti and Randall Coleman also gets spun. Remember, there's no racing back to the caution flag, so everybody getting turned around with the race
couldn't
leaders
tell
going
who
around
it
is not
was
going to mean
around first,
anything,
but
and
it was a
Coleman will
white
lead them back
car.
to the caution flag.
Can't tell. I think it might have been Grant around. It was a white car, it appeared, that got spun around first there.
We'll take a look and see what happened here. Once more, as you know, actually, you know what? We're going to go ahead and watch these guys come down the pit lane here for the opening time under caution. Already a third of the way through the race here tonight in North Wilkesboro under caution number 4. Randall Coleman will come down the pit lane, getting some fresh rubber on that 17, and we're going to see quite a few cars stay out. But there is that 17 machine. We'll follow along with him as he'll come down the pit lane. Get a good look at Drew Fast's pit stall. There's Phil Swift on the screen in front of us right there. Looking for a swift pit stop is Randall Coleman. He's out and away. We'll avoid the 4 machine. He'll run over the flagman at the entrance of the pit lane. And Will Goss will pick up a crucial second place position off of the pit lane. We'll put him ahead of the 100. Again, he needs every possible point to make this battle continue to get this championship battle going into Indianapolis for the penultimate race of the season. But we'll take a look and see what happened to put us under this 4th caution of the night. And Grant Warren just getting into Victor Nunez. And that was, the track was blocked, as a certain NASCAR YouTuber would say. Both Warren brothers getting tagged in. Corey Stallhood in there. Corbin Wentz braking a little bit too hard there. And Apollo Hyde is cleaning out Randall Coleman. Joshua Mercurio somehow got through. Oh, Lord. I want to talk about bumper cars here at the Boro. That's exactly what we got there. And it's probably easier to tell who was not involved in that crash. We'll get another look at it here. Like Durbin just going around. RJ Bishop got pinballed around, and just like we said, just the track is clogged like it's a toilet at Taco Bell. Nicky Conti.
And a consequence of that wreck, this top 5 is suspect at best. We have Joshua Mercurio and RJ Bishop on the front row, but just a little bit behind them, we have Blake Warren and Corey Stallhood, and then Ace Racer rolling out on the 3rd car on the inside.
Well, that's the beauty of NR2003, that the cars that were involved in the caution flag will end up leading the field to the green flag here. So it'll be Mercurio and the 48 of RJ Bishop leading them back through the Geico restart zone. Green flag back out and away. Top 6 cars all stayed out. And Will Goss trying to take advantage of the Oklahoma land rush. Randall Coleman did not get a good jump off the restart. They're going to go 4 wide on into turn number 3. Please do not do that, guys. Focusato, who flipped earlier in the race, thought about making it 3 wide. Couldn't quite get around Stallhood. Stallhood trying to get around his brother, and the caution flag is back out. Rich Roy and Corbin Wentz around.
Did they make it to the line in time?
I believe they did.
They've been spared once again.
Oh, they're cutting it close here.
Well, you know what? I mean, if you're a guy like Joshua Mercurio or RJ Bishop, you're hoping that they didn't make it to the start-finish line, because, you know, single file restarts from here on out. You know, everybody besides Mercurio and a handful of other drivers have yet to pit or have come down the pit lane. We'll take another look at what happened here between Rich Roy and Corbin Wentz. And we'll officially see if they made it to the line before the caution flag came out. Wentz just swinging the back end out through the corner, gets cold clocked by the 29, and they did in fact make it back to the start-finish line. So we should be double file restarting this race. Again, North Wilkesboro is just a very tough track to drive. We're seeing it with a lot of these guys that are a little more towards the back of the grid. Guys like Corbin, guys like Yahir Alvarado, guys like Grant, guys like Rich, where, it's very tough for a lot of them. Especially more on the inexperienced side for guys like Corbin. Rich, he just has the worst luck in the world. I really don't know what else to really say about that, as Bishop is back down the pit lane.
Goss will be second.
Well, we'll see if they'll remain single file after this. Lights are going to remain on the pace car for now.
I guess the easiest way to put Rich is he's just been snake bitten. Not really just this season here in JNS, but over in Sportsman this past season. He just can't seem to really catch a break wherever he runs in.
And Joshua Mercurio pulling off to the inside. He feigned like he was going to come down the pit lane there for a moment. Trying to put a little more heat in the tires. Not sure what's going on with the 99. He's scraping the inside wall like he's, trying to get barnacles off a cruise ship.
What is he doing?
Thought he was going to surrender the race lead there for a moment, and looks like we are going to be going back double file restarts here, so they did in fact make it to the green flag. That's what you want to see if you're Randall Coleman, is these green flag, or these double file restarts. It gives you another chance to get back towards the front.
It's always a big opportunity, and then look who is second on the inside. The 64 of Ace Racer didn't get the best restart last time by. Let's see how they do this time.
Yeah, Ace in his 5th career GNS start in that 64 Supra. Make that his 8th career start. Made his career debut at Michigan, so make it his 5th start, I should say. We eventually got there.
And it's green.
A couple of Warhorse racing cars on the front row. Will Goss gets the jump on the outside lane. Blake Warren did not get a good jump. He got ran into by Corey Stolhood. And how about Randall Coleman shooting the gap there in the 17 car, trying to go back down to the inside. They nearly clogged it up down the back straightaway. They nearly accordioned everybody, and around goes Coleman. That's right in front of Tate Dorsey, and that will collect everybody upside down. Goes the Coleman car 17, and that will officially be our 3rd caution flag after a restart, and we are single file for the rest of this race. And that could not come at a worse possible time for Randall Coleman, your pole sitter, right at the halfway point, partially upside down. Right here, halfway home, through what has been a chaos-filled race in North Wilkesboro, to say the least.
Wouldn't that be the 3rd strike now that everyone's going to have to restart single file?
I believe it would. Randall was making some really good moves, cutting through everybody. Was 3 wide between Corey Stolhood and Vincenzo Focasato, and you'll see from the helicopter cam, got a little bit of a tap from the 45, went around, and then Tate Dorsey just got railroaded. Nowhere for Nicky Conti to go. And
now, what I don't get is why we're not even at halfway yet. Why drivers can't just lay back for a couple laps, let some heat get into their tires, and so we avoid having these wrecks where we have an absolute parking lot in the turn because people just don't want to lay back for a second.
Well, Crystal, I'll tell you this. That's just every driver who is so impatient.
Yeah, I mean, these restarts, especially these double file restarts at a track like North Wilkesboro, again, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You're wide enough for maybe about 4 cars if you're brazen enough. 3 if you're crazy. Even going double file here in North Wilkesboro was a little bit less than desirable to the outcome for a lot of these guys. But man, that's going to really change things up. But we're going to get single file restarts for the remainder of the night. And you know what? Things have certainly been shaken up like a soda can. Will Goss is in the lead. Apollo Hyde way back there in the 100. She's back in 11th in that automobile. The way things run right now, we talked about it right at the top of the show, how much of a teeter-totter the points lead has been. Will Goss looking in a really favorable position as we're past the halfway point of tonight's race. 40 laps, 39 laps in the books, 36 laps to go. And Will Goss hoping the rest of this race does go caution-free. Mini Minister was trying to change that there in the 22. Blake Warren on the high side. Minister still falling back a little bit. Victor Nunez trying to make some hay on the inside lane. And don't look now. Drew Fast, Joshua Moyers, they're on their way up through the grid. Moyers went coming from 2 laps down from a disconnected, and now Stolhood around. He's into the 37, and for the second time tonight, Vincenzo Focusato's on his lid. Caution flag number 7, flip number 2 of the night for the Momo Mazda.
That all started. Tyler got loose off of 2, door to the 64, spun back up the track, and Vincenzo just had nowhere to go there.
And that was a surefire racing deal. And I think Vincenzo, we've seen Vincenzo flip a lot here in 2026. You go back to the Prime Star 500 race we had at the 1997 version of Atlanta, where unfortunately he tow-carred half of the grandstands. They had to extend the grandstands in turn 4 of that version of the track. Or they had to extend the catch fence, I should say, to avoid that incident happening there ever again. And unfortunately, he's not able to keep the car on all 4 wheels.
I've got a sign I'm going to give to Vincenzo here after the race. He can put it on his car or put it in his car on the dash, wherever. It's going to say, keep all 4 wheels on the ground.
He can join Elliott Sadler in that club, as we'll grab another look at it here in a brief moment. Here we are. Watch this one car. He's on the outside of Ace Racer. This was the battle for 4th right here. You saw Tyler just got a little bit loose. Ace just popped him back in, and watch that 37 car just weight shift crash, flip over down the pit lane. And somehow we have not hit the attenuator yet. I know the second that I said that, we're going to get somebody's going to plow right into it.
Oh, absolutely, but somehow, even more absurd, that 37 is still driving, and it still seems to be driving almost perfectly.
Watch that 37 car fly. I think we know what the thumbnail for tonight's video is going to be. One of the 2 flips of Vincenzo Focusato endured here tonight. And, you know, there's no quit in this Millennium Autosport camp. You know, they're still looking for their first win of the season. Of course, all 3 of them have had their fair share of incidences here tonight. But Will Goss and Joshua Mercurio trying to get Warhorse Racing their 2nd win of the season. And it's really just been a caution parade for the majority of this race as the lights are out on the pace car. It'll be 30 laps to go this next time by here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Make that 29 to go this next time by. We're all ready. It's Blake Warren blinking in and out there a little bit with the net code, but we're already down to the witching hour. Joshua Mercurio still has to make a pit stop, but everybody else inside the top 5, aside from Blake Warren, can make it to the end. I'm watching that 68 of Joshua Moyers restarting in that 5th spot. He has endured a lot here tonight. I think he's in a relatively good spot in that 5th position as the green flag is back out in the air. Mercurio on the outside. Blake Warren getting shoved up high by Moyers, and here comes that Alsco 68. Don't look now. Randall Coleman also back in the fray in that ColemanCars.com 17 machine. He's trying to get back inside the top 10. He's right to the underside of Victor Nunez. We go on board with a 17. Blake Warren all over the place. He's way on the high side of that Budweiser 83. He's way out of the groove. Cue the Eric Estep music. Coleman back inside the top 10. Meanwhile, for the race lead, Mercurio wants it, trying to get it away from his teammate. Not able to get the drive off the corner, and in result, here comes Fast Mercurio diving it in deep. He might have dove a little too deep. You could hear from the broadcast booth, those rear tires were screaming in pain. And somehow he's able to keep the cars pointed in the right direction. He's going to gain a little bit of a leverage on the 82.
And Apollo Hyde and Randall Coleman are already making passes and already 5th and 6th respectively.
Coleman and Hyde, who were the two leaders earlier on in the race, are closing in on this quartet up at the front of the field. 25 laps to go in North Wilkesboro. We've had our longest green flag run of the day here for the last 4 odd laps. Mercurio looking for that first career win here tonight, and Drew Fast in third, trying to chip back into this championship battle here with Vincenzo Focasato a little bit out of the picture, back in the 14th position. Blake Warren continuing to buzz a little bit in and out. RJ Bishop will hang on the mayonnaise line down low. Mini Minister will try and do the same thing. How about Yahir Alvarado? Currently inside the top 10, running in the 8th position right now for that Valvoline Mustang, as he and Minister will go door to door for the battle for 8th. Meanwhile, as Drew Fast will pound the outside wall out of turn 4, make it a 6-pack of drivers all fighting for the race win. You got Will Goss, you've got Joshua Mercurio, one car in the inside, that's Corbin Wentz, who's in the infield doing some agricultural work. You got Drew Fast, you got a couple of Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series veterans up at the front, and around goes Moyers off the front end of Randall Coleman. I'm not sure if there was contact. There was.
That's going to be a yellow.
And the yellow flag is out as the two Revolution Motorsports teammates break sideways. Caution flag number 8. And with only 21 laps to go, that's likely going to be the end of the competitive night for both of those Chevrolets, as Randall Coleman ran right in the back of his teammate. And again, those two, they're fighting really hard for the Segment 2 championship for the RPCS. And it's in that a little bit of a friendly rivalry is going to spill over here into the Fuel Racing League, and Coleman will head down to the low side. RJ Bishop will head down the pit lane as well. And Joshua Moyers will have to reset all the way back at the rear of the field once again. We'll get another look at it. That's just tough.
It's tough, but it's the product of short track racing. Someone makes a mistake and it accordions back into the field until there's cars that can't really figure it out, and one thing leads to another. There's contact, and then one of them goes around.
So I'm not sure if there was a whole lot of contact there. Was Moyers checked up with Drew Fast going into the wall? I don't see a whole lot of rear end damage on that 68 car. You know, I'm curious to watch from the helicopter cam if there was indeed contact. We'll see if we can get a proper angle. You know what? I think there was a little bit of contact. Watch that 17. Oh, yeah. He definitely patted the 68 in the rear end and spun him around. And tough break for both those Chevrolets.
This car spun around either. The lightest tap can really just get you. It can get your rear end super unstable there.
I mean, that's the running joke here with NR2003 Online is, you know, NR Online netcode walked so we could run an iRacing. You know, just ask my brother is doing some iRacing right now. Just the amount of netcode and the amount of contact you're able to make in iRacing compared to NR2003 Online is just insane. But more on that later. Green flag back out and away. With 18 laps to go. Don't look now. Apollo Hyde inside the top 5 once more.
Speaking of don't look now, look at Vincenzo Focasato, already up to 8, still methodically making his way up through the field. And you could have fooled me and told me he hasn't wrecked yet tonight, because his car still looks cleaner compared to other cars that have barely gotten into anything tonight.
That's the beauty of moderate damage here tonight, and all 22 cars still on the grid, despite the fact that we've flipped about 3 cars here tonight. Everybody's still on track here tonight for the 22 entries that started this race, and Will Goss trying to hold off a hard-charging Drew Fast for this race lead right now. Go on board the 4 of Drew Fast. He has been oh so close so many times this season already, and now he's going to take advantage of a mistake. The Ohioan goes up the racetrack. A very big bobble going into turn 3 for Will Goss, but he's able to hold on to it. Fast now to the inside. Apollo looking for the crossover. And I really thought that was going to be the battle, the pass for the race win there for Fast. But Goss doing a really good job of recovering that 82 Camaro. He runs wide off the corner again. 14 laps to go. Not a whole lot of time remaining for Drew Fast, but again, he has just been toying around with the setup here tonight. Paulo Hyde trying to get to the inside of this Ford machine. And how about Victor Nunez? Started this race from the pit area. Trying to get Warren Wentz Racing their first win of the season. Meanwhile, Apollo Hyde side by side with Drew Fast, and Fast sideways in turn 1 and 2. Back down the track, he clips the 22, win of the 71. And that will bring out the caution once again. Oh, I thought he was going to save that automobile. It was looking like he was going to save it, but the wheel just jerked a little too much to the left. Clip Mini Minister. And we're going to get a late race restart with caution number 9 on the night here at North Wilkesboro. And Will Goss, I don't know if he's going to like that. And Joshua Mercurio finally having to come down the pit lane. And this is going to be one heck of a restart here late at North Wilkesboro. We'll get another look at what happened here on the accident. Just overdrive in the corner. Simple as that for Drew, and got run over by a couple more drivers. Ike Durbin having to make some evasive maneuvers to avoid the Ford machine, and looks like that first career Fuel Grand National Series win will have to wait for yet another week. We'll follow with him once again. Tough break, Crystal. That's just a tough break.
Sure is. And as we go past pit road here, no takers. I don't think I agree with the staying out right here. If I were running up here, I would try to bait a few cars, go down pit road, pick up some extra rubber here, because it's going to be a sprint to the end. And doing a test race on Friday, I found that running 80 to 90% tape will work for around 10 laps, and it gives you so much more grip. You can be super aggressive with the car, and you don't really have to worry about much doing all that.
We are going to get this race restarted with 9 laps to go. Don't look now, Randall Coleman back in the 7th position after all of that.
It's going to be a question of will Goss hold Apollo Hyde back?
Well, this is likely going to be the championship battle right here. With 9 laps to go, here we go. Green flag back out and away. Goss gets a good jump. Nunez right on the back end of the 100. Hyde looking for that 4th win of the season. Goss is not going to go down without swing, and here comes Apollo to the inside. Not able to grab the ledge. Goss bobbling a little bit through the middle of 3 and 4. That has not been a good spot for him. Nunez in the outside wall. The 3 wide off the corner. Trek Togger getting out of the gas. And how about Randall Coleman? How about Vincenzo Focusato? You know what? If Vincenzo gets a top 5 after flipping here twice, that is good enough for an interview. And meanwhile, back at the front, side by side for the race lead. Hyde in the 100 Wolkmobile. Goss in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 82. 7 laps to go. And the 2 championship leaders still door to door, wheel to wheel. Green flag still out and away. 2 more laps around will be the point of no return, and Randall Coleman is going to make this a menage a trois for the race win, most likely, with 6 to go.
I think the 82's tires are gone. He's trying desperately, but he just can't hold on. He's got to find a way to the bottom. He can't do it when he's stuck out here. We got to spin at the back.
You hear Alvarado sideways in the back. 6 laps to go. Everybody's scrambling like ants. Will that bring out the caution flag? It will. And Randall Coleman on the race back. Did he get around Will Goss before they got back to the start-finish line? I believe he did. And ladies and gentlemen, with just over 5 laps to go, we're going to get ourselves a green-white checkered. Well, this race can only end in one singular fashion, ladies and gentlemen. Sheer,
chaos.
Utter chaos.
Oh, boy.
I think we might have a car thrown into the fence here, coming to the checkered.
Well, this all started with Yahir Alvarado and RJ Bishop. Oh, so wait, no, it was Ike Durbin, the first one that
There
spun
was,
around, and then you hear
and behind them too.
got turned, and everybody just plowing into everybody. This final restart is going to be something, ladies and gentlemen, that's for sure. Oh, it's Tyler Stolhood that popped over the 86 car around. So that was the initial cause of the accident. And then Alvarado just going off the front end of Nicky Conti and Joshua Mercurio, who has cut his way back up through here for a pretty moment, but I believe we're going to be getting a natural green and white checkered finish to the end of this race. Field will likely get the one to go this time by, and here is the shot. Apollo Hyde, who has got relatively older tires compared to everybody else, is the race leader. Randall Coleman has the best tires of anybody inside the top 5. He restarts in second. Will Goss, very old tires, the oldest tires of anybody inside the top 5. He's in third. Victor Nunez, who's been running exceptionally well here tonight on the 88, will restart in fourth. And Vincenzo Focusato looking for a top 5 run despite flipping upside down here twice tonight. It'll be 2 laps, no caution flags. Like I said, Crystal, we're probably going to send someone into the catch fence here as we're back at the Boro. Only one way to end the Moonshine Midsummer Classic here tonight with a sticks-high 2-to-go shootout. Here we go. Hyde, Coleman, Goss, Nunez, and Focusato, your top 5. Green flag back out of the air. And Hyde gets a really good jump off the restart. Here comes that 17. To the outside goes the 17. Hyde throwing the block. They might be side by side. They are going to be side by side. Driving on the outside lane, the 17, as we got problems in the back. White flag in the air. One more time around North Wilkesboro. What a save out of Victor Nunez. And Randall Coleman way up the racetrack in the 17. He saves the car somehow. Hyde back to the race lead. It's going to come down to turns 3 and 4. Here we are, side by side to the final set of corners. Here on the outside lane, Hyde on the inside lane, checkered flag in the air. Randall Coleman at the stripe, edges out Apollo Hyde, and comes from the back to the front in the final 15 laps to win a thriller at the Boro.
We have a wreck on the front stretch. We had the 60 get thrown up and into the catch fence at the start-finish line.
And Grant Warren is up into the catch fence. We've got problems, Rick Allen style.
Blake Warren sitting on his roof in turn 1.
Apollo Hyde was second. Will Goss was third. RJ Bishop, after all of that, will finish in fourth, and Victor Nunez will round out the top 5. What a battle to the end there. The second closest finish of the season. And Randall Coleman and the ColemanCars.com 17 machine will burn it down here at the Boro. He is your winner of the Fuel Moonshine Midsummer Classic here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. What a performance out of that 17 car here tonight, leading 27 laps, but he got caught up in a wreck midway through the race. And he got caught up in a wreck with 15 laps to go that sent him to the rear end of the grid. And you know what? He did not hear any bell, ladies and gentlemen. First points-paying win of the season for Randall Coleman, and he becomes the 7th different winner in the Fuel Grand National Series season number 9. And he is going to find his way back to his pit stall, and we got to take a look at that crazy final last lap here tonight at North Wilkesboro in just a moment. Wow. We've had some great finishes here in 2026, guys.
Maybe this is the year of the side-by-side.
It definitely is, and we'll start from turn 4 on the penultimate lap. I really thought Randall was going to get the win here. Watch that 88 car. What a save out of him. But I thought Randall had bended going into the corner. Somehow he saves that 17 machine. And they're still side by side. Coleman on the outside. That is just the magic of 4 Mr. Fieldgoods is what got the job done to Randall Coleman with the win. And we'll watch the chaos back in here. Just everybody wrecking everybody. had the 88 upside down. You had somebody, rather, you had Grant Warren just getting ass backed by Josh Mercurio.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my Lord. God, this is why we love fuel, guys.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at that last lap crash once again. So I believe this originated from Victor Nunez and Joshua Moyers. Nunez, he decided, you know what, I'm going to take out the 48. And then everybody, all hell breaks loose. Watch this 33. Watch this 99. Throttle hung in the 33 and up into the fence. Goodness gracious. Well, that will conclude tonight's race portion of the event. And Randall Coleman, in the final 15 laps of the race, gets the job done. And my goodness gracious, that is how you get a win here, as Randall Coleman, Apollo Hyde, and Will Goss will be the three drivers that we'll talk to here tonight. But we'll go ahead and send things downstairs in a brief moment. But guys, your initial reaction to the end of that race, a very chaotic race, 10 caution flags for 40 laps under the yellow flag. It was very stop and go for the majority of the night in North Wilkesboro. It's always going to be that way at this tricky little track, but your initial thoughts here before we'll get into the interview segment.
Wowzers. I really wish Drew was able to be there at the end, but the finish definitely didn't disappoint.
Yeah. That last lap pass, man. On the outside.
And that is something you don't see every day. And a last lap pass from the outside lane at a short track like North Wilkesboro. And that is just really going to get things going here, especially in this championship battle, because Apollo Hyde did edge out Will Goss. So that's likely going to give Hyde about, with that heat number 2 win, probably about a 5-point gap over Will, I believe. We'll go ahead, we'll get that all situated here. We'll get that all confirmed, because because they both led laps. I believe it's probably going to be about, about a 5-point swing in favor of Apollo, so it's probably going to be about an 8 or 10-point advantage for Apollo Hyde coming out of tonight. But we'll hear from them in a brief moment. We'll send things downstairs for the post-race interview segment here after an incredible race number 9 of the season here this evening at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. We'll be back in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of love.
Another wild and exciting race has just concluded here from the North Wilkesboro Speedway as we welcome you back inside the North American Sim Racing Network broadcast booth. Here for tonight's post-race show for the first annual Fuel Moonshine Midsummer Classic here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Here on your home for the Fuel Racing League of the North American Sim Racing Network, Trey Wright and Crystal Bennett bringing you the post-race action. Kenny Campos unfortunately had to leave early. But Crystal, we had a few moments to decompress what was a very chaotic race here tonight. 10 caution flags with the majority of the laps being ran under the caution flag. I just want your initial thoughts on the end of that race where it was just very stop and go for the most part. A lot of chaos, and it came down to an unorthodox win between two of the best drivers we've got here in the Fuel Grand National Series. Your thoughts on that, watching that incredible finish from the booth?
First and foremost, that finish was amazing. The outside pass, in all honesty, I only think it worked because Randall had by far the best tires of anyone in the top 5. He had maybe 20 lap fresher tires at that point. But when we were able to have any green flag laps of any sort, the racing was amazing. I just wish we weren't so stop and go there at the end.
Yeah, that was probably my only request as well. But, again, that's short track racing with a pretty big field of cars here. We had 22 cars on the grid, and credit to everybody. Every single car finished the race here tonight. We had 22 cars started, 22 of them ended up finishing the race, and I think we probably had maybe at most one or two guys finished off of the lead lap. Now, granted, that was mostly due to the stop-and-go style of racing, so everybody was getting re-racked back together, and everybody was getting lucky dogs. But overall, it's short-track racing. There's no other way to put it. I wouldn't be totally surprised if we see a similar style of racing from the O'Reilly series here in a couple of days. But speaking of O'Reilly Auto Parts, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Camaro finished third on the grid here tonight. We're going to talk with that driver here in just one moment's time once we get him pulled up here into the broadcast booth. And there we go.
To your channel.
Pulling up our third place finisher here tonight, driver of the number 82 O'Reilly Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro for Warhorse Racing, Mr. Will Goss. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Back again for another week.
Absolutely, and you have just been putting together nothing but consistent finish after consistent finish here tonight. And, a solid run at the end of that race, but the tire wear was ultimately the deciding factor, especially in those final couple of laps. Your take on the last 10 laps of this race, and after that take, just the race as overall, just your opinion on it.
Well, the primary goal obviously was just to keep the lead there, but I knew that Apollo and Randall were pretty quick, and I believe Randall had taken tires at some point after me, so I was pretty much just hoping the 99 could hold him off as my rear gunner. I even told him, because he was asking me, he's like, man, I kind of want to pit here. And I was like, well, you're doing pretty good in second place for me. This might help me out a lot. And they decided to stay there, and then almost immediately they gave that spot up to Drew, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, the goal was just to hang on and see what I could do. But as soon as I kind of locked it up in one of the corners, Apollo just got by me. I tried to fight it, but I mean, it was pretty much done after that, and then Randall was able to get by him.
Yeah, North Wilkesboro is a very tough track to drive. We were hearing a lot of drivers, critique this track in both positive and negative ways. It's a track with a lot of character, and it's a very unique track to drive. We saw a lot of drivers having different lines. We're focusing on Randall's line for the majority of the night, but what are you able to really figure out with the track a little bit with your own setup?
Yeah, like a little bit into the heat or the main race, it kind of clicked a little bit. I just tried to maximize my strong corner, which I think might have been 3 and 4, just with a little less of the I can't remember if it's more or less of the banking. I don't remember which turn is which now, but
I think they're I think they're both 14 degrees, if memory serves me right.
okay, well, yeah, they felt a little bit different when I drove it, but 3 and 4, like I felt like was kind of one of my strong corners. A lot of people were over driving it a lot. They would just go in way too hot, and then they'd have to either lift or they would just smack the wall out of 4 there. going to the line. So I just tried to maintain a consistent line. Like I said, I saw the 99 was behind me. They were kind of doing what I was describing. They were sending it in a little deep and kind of slowing everyone up behind me. So I was really hoping that we would go green before that last caution hit, but is what it is. And, here I am back in third place with another interview.
Hey, you know what? Picking up these solid finishes, there's absolutely nothing to sneeze at there, especially with how close this points battle is. You are going to lose a little bit to Apollo Hyde going into the penultimate race at Indianapolis, but it's probably going to be about maybe an 8 to 10 point gap going into the Brickyard in a week. So we're looking a little bit more towards the future. Indianapolis, both a really good track for you and Apollo, just like we saw here today. What are you looking forward to racing at the Brickyard here for our final Super Speedway race to round out the calendar before we head to the season finale at Iowa?
Real quick, I am wondering if the midway points bonus and the most led lap points bonus is included in me being back about 8 or 10.
I believe Randall should have the most laps. Actually, no, I did not see the. So I believe. So it's
I
probably
don't
gonna
even
be.
know
It's
if I got
probably
it for
gonna be
sure.
more about probably about 5, or I would say, because we'll go ahead and get the official stuff here from Tyler in a little bit, but it's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of about 5 to 10 laps. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't realize you did lead the most laps and got the halfway bonus, so thank you for reminding me of that.
Oh, all good. I was just curious because Apollo in the waiting room, they were like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to be dead even on points going into Indy." So I was just kind of curious on that. And I mean, either way, if I'm, tied or behind, the mission's the same. Is just to finish the best I can. Hopefully first at Indy. I feel like that's another track that I can do pretty well at. Apollo, I'm not sure if it's a premonition they had, but they said if anything, maybe the win at Pocono will turn around and maybe they'll lose out here in Indy. So I'm kind of hoping they manifested that for me, but we'll just have to wait and see until next Wednesday. And I'm just hoping to bring a good setup and hopefully finish well enough ahead of them that I can build a gap into Iowa and I won't have to worry too much.
Well, it's certainly going to be a fun race next week here at 8:50 Eastern Time next Wednesday night here for the Brickyard 100. But Crystal, you got anything for a third place finisher here tonight before we'll get into the hat dance?
Yeah, so hell of a drive for you at the end there. I thought you would have had it if it ran green. You probably would have had it if it ran green, but when the 100 is able to get to your inside, you couldn't really hold on. Those tires are gone. But aside from that, how do you think the first stages of the race went for you with it being up and down that way?
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic and kind of hard to navigate. I did at one point. I kind of drove through Vincenzo, and like obviously didn't mean to, but that kind of set the tone at least early that it was going to be a little bit chaotic of a race, and I was going to have to climb out of a hole. But I felt like I was definitely one of the faster people on the track, not the fastest, but I could definitely muscle my way up to like fifth place whenever I felt like it. I felt like I could have done. So just trying to stay clean, navigate that, and then track position was important. So just trying to get up to the front, maintain that. And once I got up the first, I really didn't want to give that up for anything. I was really hoping a lot of people wouldn't come into pit, and a lot of people seemed to prefer the track position. So it kind of worked out for me. But yeah, that last yellow at the end, I feel like that might have been what decided it. But either way, I feel like they still could have got by me. But, you never know.
Yeah, you definitely never know in these situations. And hey, third place, not a second win of the season, but with just how close this championship battle has been, especially how much chaos we saw in this race. Both you were caught up in, with everybody was caught up in. I think a solid third place run, just one position behind Apollo. And the bonus points as well that you collected over the course of the race as well is definitely going to make up for it. But Will, you know the drill by now. You've gotten how many podium finishes here in season number 9? It's been a lot. We'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors you want if there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NESRN. For a third place finisher here tonight at North Wilkesboro, Will Goss, the floor is yours.
It feels like Groundhog Day when I do this, but we will go through it again. So obviously, first and foremost, Warhorse Racing, Warren Racing, for giving me the spot to do this and compete. And it's been a great season so far. Only 2 more races left to go, so I'll try to finish off strong for them. Obviously, Fuel the League itself. You guys for broadcasting it, and then my one actual sponsor obligation, Power Slam Pro Wrestling. We have a show this Sunday, 2 p.m., same time it usually is, Newtown Mall in New Philadelphia. So if you happen to be listening from that area, definitely come check us out. It's like $10 to $15 for the show coming up, so no reason not to come. And if you're a wrestling fan and for whatever reason you like me, September 27th, I would just keep your eye on that date, and I won't say nothing more.
Well, hey, we'll have to keep our calendars open for September 27th then. But, Will, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. And I know you got 2 more races left here this season. We'll definitely be looking forward to hopefully hearing from you in these post-race interviews and hopefully even a championship interview here in the next fortnight or so. But it's always a pleasure to hear from you, dude. We'll go ahead and let you decompress here for the next week and get ready for what's going to be a throwdown between you and the 100 at the Brickyard.
Yeah, that's going to be a crazy 2 weeks here coming up. Thanks again, as always, for having me.
Of course. Have a good night, man.
Yep.
User was moved
That was
out
Will
of your
Goss, driver of the
channel.
number 82 O'Reilly Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro for Warhorse Racing, your third place finisher here tonight. We'll go into our interview with our runner-up finisher, driver
User
of the
was
number
moved to your
100 Wolkmobile Subaru for Marvelous Racing, Miss Apollo Hyde. I got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth.
I do, Trey.
Well, thrilling last lap pass giveth and thrilling last lap pass taketh. We had a thrilling last corner pass on Tyler Mallon 1 week ago to snooker the win at Anchorage, and then 1 week later, Randall Coleman gets the best of you in a thrilling last lap pass, last corner pass as well to snooker the win away from you today. A little bit of deja vu, a little bit of what goes around comes around, but that was an incredible result and race out of you guys here tonight, first and foremost.
Yeah, this was a really hard track, and I accomplished all my goals tonight. I just wanted to finish ahead of the 82, and we done did that. As far as I'm concerned, I won this race because we finished ahead of the 82.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more here a little bit, but going into this race, especially in the practice session, you were not the biggest fan of your setup, using some words that are not fit for FCC regulations to describe both your car and the track. But overall, just how tough of a track is it to really set up for North Wilkesboro? Because I know you were using a IRP setup to really base things off, and North Wilkesboro, it's kind of like IRP in terms of the shape, but with just the character this track has got, the elevation differences on the front straightaway and the back straightaway, it's about as far from Indianapolis. It's about as close to the surface of the moon as Indianapolis Raceway Park is. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on just what went into your setup and your technique here tonight.
Yeah, of course. So the thing is that the difference here between the North Wilkesboro and Indianapolis Raceway Park was honestly the tire package that we brought to these two tracks. So the setup that I brought in from Indianapolis Raceway Park is actually the Sportsman setup that we used for the track, and it was really, really good for that. If I just setupified the setup, which doesn't take too much, honestly, with the Sportsman setups, they're really good bases. We had a good car, like an all right car, but if it was the same tires that we were using at IRP, that thing would have been a rocket ship. Now, these tires here, they didn't really take much heat from the racetrack. So even though you have more lateral grip, like you're able to turn the car a lot more than you would be at IRP, and you're able to get the car more sideways than you would be able to do at IRP without spinning it out. The track is way more slidey because the tires just weren't uptaking the heat compared to what we were doing over in Sportsman. So there were some incompatibilities that I needed to work around. I eventually figured something out at the 11th hour that got me like 0.3 a lap on the track, because I was running like 19.5s, 19.6s at best. I was nowhere. And then I figured out what I was missing just by going through some other people's setups. I was like, oh, let me try that on my own thing. And it was night and day. And I also realized that, wait a second, the way that I've been driving the car, I have the right rear tire is wearing out really fast, but I'm not really using my right front tire. I don't need to be concerned about conserving my steering angle at all at this track. And one of the things that I hammered in my mind is like, okay, this is a high tire dig track. We got to conserve our tires. We got to make sure not to steer too much. That's just completely blown out of the water. We just needed to go full blast pretty much right from the get-go, because there was very little, if any, tire fall off at all on these runs. I mean, we were still running 19.4s, 19.5s at the end of this, and I think I pitted on lap 20. Unfortunately, right there at the end, the fresh tires definitely won out with Randall. I think if we had even tires, it would have been a little bit harder for him to make that move on the outside. But again, like the tire difference probably isn't even that much to begin with because there wasn't a lot of tire fall off at this track. Again, the tires weren't absorbing a lot of the heat from the racetrack.
Yeah, and we saw that a lot here tonight. There wasn't really a whole lot of fall off unless you had a car like Randall who would come in, for fresh tires, so many more laps ago. When so many more laps before, you only had made one pit stop, and Randall had made 4 here tonight. But just walk us through that final restart with 2 laps to go. The green-white checkered. You had Randall on the outside of you. You had a really good run on the inside. Then going to the final corner, going into turns 1 and 2 on the final lap, you saw Randall bend to the outside. Just what's going through your head between that point and then crossing the start finish line in second place?
I thought I was getting comeuppance. I thought I was getting paid back because I'd gotten into Randall earlier in the race underneath the yellow flag. So I thought I was going to get a special going into turn 3. So I kind of shortened up my entrance into the corner a little bit, prepared for the worst, and he still drove by me on the outside, luckily. But yeah, I thought that I was getting shipped going into turn 3, and I'm just happy that that's not what happened.
We're happy for that as well because that side-by-side finish, once again, I think in the summer months alone between the stretch of late April to today, I think we've had probably in the ballpark of about maybe 5 or 6 last lap side-by-side finishes. We had, I don't think Charlotte was quite side-by-side.
No.
But we had, going back to late May, I should say, Nashville, that was side by side. Talladega Sportsman was side by side. Tonight was side by side. Last week was side by side. I think Chicagoland was side by side as well. There's just been so many close finishes here this season, and just these last couple of months alone, I feel like that's just a product of just how exciting the Fuel Racing League has gotten, both in the Grand National side of things and down in the Sportsman side of things as well. It's just a product of how close things have got here, the amount of talent we've got, and just how close things have gotten here competition-wise, and especially going into the point standings here. Going into the final 2 races of the season, you've got Indianapolis next week. That's one of your favorite tracks, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's one of Will Goss's favorite tracks as well, and I believe with the points coming out of tonight, I believe you should be maybe about even with Will in the point standings. Probably about maybe 3 to 5 points are going to separate you two. I believe you're still going to have the points lead, if memory serves me right. We'll get the official numbers here from Tyler Stolha in a little bit. But going into Indianapolis, you had a really good car there last year until things broke sideways a little bit more towards the end. What are you looking forward to going into the penultimate race at the Brickyard?
Yeah, so I'm just looking to be myself going into Indianapolis, just running the stock game Indianapolis. We've got a Whopper set up there, and it's kind of a bit of a throwback to me because the Indianapolis Oval was one of the 2 ovals in Gran Turismo 5, and that track was basically my home. I was I was practically untouchable at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Gran Turismo 5. I had just a wicked setup on a Jeff Gordon Chevrolet, and if the race went any longer than, say, what it was needed for a pit stop, it was over for everyone because there were a couple people that would match me on 1 or 2 lap speed, but after that I would be gone. People would basically just have to draft me, and they would have to start lifting for the corners. And my setup, Gran Turismo 5 at Indianapolis, you didn't have to lift. And we were doing like 220 around the entire track. It was absolutely insane. NR2003, obviously completely different, but Indianapolis and Pocono almost have identical setups, and they race very similarly, with Indianapolis having a bit more tire wear than Pocono. But other than that, they might as well be the exact same track. So I'm excited for Indianapolis. I know we're going to do really well there. Iowa's going to be the wild card where I'm just going to be there trying to save face. We finished third there last year, and honestly, that was kind of a miracle in its own right because that we maybe had like a fifth or sixth place car at Iowa last year. So hopefully we can do a little bit better than fifth or sixth place to try to seal the title away. Because Indianapolis, I think it's definitely going to be a dogfight between me and Will. If Pocono had anything to say about that, it's going to be really tight between me, Will, and Drew. And yeah, Iowa is really going to be the deciding factor for the title, I think.
And that's going to be a lot of fun here with only a fortnight of races remaining here in season number 9. But, Crystal, you got anything for our runner-up finisher before we'll get into the hat dance?
Well, buddy, you almost had him there at the end. I think if everything was one lap shorter, you would have walked away with the victory tonight. Not really a question, but more of a push for you. Looking forward to seeing what you can do these next 2 races, and all the camp at LCE is going to be pulling for you to close this one out.
Yeah, I appreciate that much, Crystal. And of course, Marvelous and LCE, we do have a bit of a working relationship going together, and hopefully that continues for future seasons as well. We'll just see how it goes. Season 10 is going to be a season that will happen. That's for sure. We will see when we get there. I'm personally super excited for Sportsman Season 5 because Sportsman's just incredible. And I legitimately think that we have the actual best 12 race schedule ever in NR2003. Like the 12 tracks that we have on here, it's probably the best 12 race schedule that's ever been constructed. I don't know if it's possible to do better. With Auto Club, Rockingham, Myrtle Beach, Infineon, Las Vegas, Daytona, Lexington, our hometown track, our homemade track, I should say, Old Spice, Hillside, Grand Junction, Papyrus Motorsport Park, and leading out with Homestead 2017 BB. I'm so looking forward to Sportsman Season 5. I could finish in last place in every single one of those races, and I'd probably still have a blast because that schedule is so insanely good. But yeah, Season 10, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of tracks in Season 10 that do not favor me at all, so I don't expect to do well in almost any of these tracks. I mean, let me look this up here real quick. Yeah, like Bristol, Worldwide Technology, Kentucky, Watkins Glen is also a track I'm not good at. Richmond I've historically struggled at. We've got Daytona and Talladega in the same schedule, and we all know my luck at super speedways. Martinsville is a coin flip. So the only tracks that are looking to favor me in any way are Darlington and Homestead, Miami, which are tracks where I'm just notorious for finishing second at. I think I've finished second just about every single time I've gone to those 2 tracks and have not wrecked. So we will see about Season 10. That looks like a really, really rough stretch for me. But Sportsman, oh man, Sportsman Season 5, it's going to be peak NR2003. You will want to watch the NARSN for that.
You definitely will, and we begun to get our broadcasting rights for which races we're going to end up doing them. Hopefully we're going to be able to do the bulk of the schedule here for Sportsman. I know there are a couple of dates that I'm looking at. It's like, I really want to do that race, but man, I've got hockey that night with everything that I've got. But overall, we'll get that in the end. With the official broadcast announcement will come relatively soon, probably in the next 2 weeks at Iowa. And of course, the schedule for season number 10 will also be released during the Iowa broadcast as well. Of course, all the races on Wednesday nights here for the Grand National Series will be broadcasted live here on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. But Apollo, you absolutely know the drill by now. We'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASRN airwaves during the hat dance for our runner-up finisher here tonight, Miss Apollo Hyde, the floor is yours.
Yeah, of course. I've got to shout out everybody over at Idol Gateway for an insanely successful sold out show that we had down in Washington, D.C., downtown. It was hot as hell in that venue. It was like 90 degrees. Everybody was just pouring sweat, but we got through it. We raised over, I think, close to $300 for a local charity that we were giving away with a raffle. So that's amazing. And these fans are just the best ever. So look forward to my future social medias postings. I will get something together in regards to my personal performance at this show. We'll be getting some sort of video up. I'm not sure what video because during my performance, it actually got so hot in the room that the mixer basically exploded.
Oh, that does not sound good.
No, it did not.
That
I can
might
assure you
be
it
a little
didn't
bit
sound
dangerous.
good. But we got through it. We got through the tech issues. We got most of my songs in and got most of my sets in. And I had to entertain the crowd a little bit through some stuff. But yeah, anyways, I love Idols. Idol Gateway was amazing, and I will continue supporting that particular show in the Baltimore and Washington area until they stop running it, and I hope they never stop running it. These people, Aiden, Alex Pinku, and Michael, they're all phenomenal people. Ondo and Jared, and there's one other person that I can't remember, Lance, that works the tech. They are amazing people and they need to be shouted out as well. And then, of course, my co-performers with Valentine, Celestia, Yumi Piku, Flair, and Ash. Everyone was great. Unfortunately, Dream Teak weren't able to come up due to illness, but the show must go on, and the show went on spectacularly.
Well, considering that your mixer broke and your mixer literally exploded in the heat, for it to you use the word spectacular to explain just that show is absolutely incredible, and a big shout out to all those guys as well. It's going to be a dogfight for the next fortnight here between you and the 82. We got Indianapolis and Iowa coming up, a couple of Midwestern tracks, which are going to be two vastly different races, but it's going to be so much fun here for these next 2 weeks. And, of course, always a pleasure hearing from you, Apollo. We'll wish you the best of luck here at Indianapolis in the week, and we'll see you when we see you here coming up the final 2 weeks of season number 9. But thank you so much for coming on here post-race, and we'll go let you decompress with your team as you get ready for the Brickyard.
Definitely will. I appreciate you, Trey. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, man.
User disconnected from your channel.
That was Apollo Hyde, driver of the number 100 Idol Gateway Wokemobile Subaru. For Marvelous Racing, your runner-up finisher here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's time to bring in the man of the hour.
User was moved to your channel.
Second time we're hearing from this man here today, or this week I should say, the driver of the number 17 ColemanCars.com Chevrolet Camaro for Revolution Motorsport. Mr. Randall Coleman, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I got you.
Well, from going and winning the regular season championship in the Fast RPCS by 1 point over Joshua Moyers to getting a last lap pass for your sixth career win here in the Fuel Grand National Series. I say it's been a pretty darn good week for you, all things considered. First and foremost, congratulations on getting your first points paying win of season 9 tonight.
Thanks. It was an up and down race, but we were able to get up there and wound up battling Apollo there at the last couple laps and able to pull it off.
We definitely were, and we'll start right before the race. You came in here into the server at the very end of practice. You were able to really dominate your heat race, and North Wilkesboro is one of the tougher tracks to drive here in our 2003. With just based on how different the elevation is, With you got the downhill front straightaway, you got the uphill back straightaway, you got two just drastically different corners on either side of the track. But Crystal really was able to pick up on your line that we're running here tonight. You were running very shallow into 1 and 2, and then running middle on the high line, or middle to low through 3 and 4. So just wanted to get a little bit more of your vantage point from just what you were running and your technique that you were running here tonight to get some of the fastest laps of the evening.
So yeah, North Wilkesboro is one of my favorite tracks. Just because of the unique shape that it is, the way the track is designed, laid out. Um, One thing that I really like is the fact that I'm really good on short tracks. Learning from a long, long time ago with the experience that I've had in the past, and some of the good people who have taught me about how to be slow in and fast off. And if you could get a good setup that really return the center of the corner, that's where you get a lot of speed off, and that's what really allows you to make those little maneuvers to get underneath somebody, because you got so much speed coming off the corner compared to somebody else who might not be able to get through the center as well. So learning those couple tricks back when I first started online racing, especially with open setups, it went a long ways. But North Wilkesboro is, and I know we talked about it last Sunday, a couple days ago, that it's one of my favorite tracks to run. I've always had a really good feeling on that track, and it really showed that we could put the car almost anywhere on the track, and it would do what we needed it to do.
Well, it definitely looked like it was on rails here tonight, but going into those final 15 laps, starting with, ironically, we're talking about you and Josh going down to the wire on Sunday night in Atlanta for that regular season champion for segment 2. And then you two got together with 15 laps to go. That put you at the end of the longest line. Just walk us through how you were able to carve your way through the field on those fresh four fresh tires, taking advantage of some of the cautions on the way, and just walk us through how you're able to methodically carve your way up, and then just take us through that final restart with you on the outside of Apollo up until you made that incredible outside lane pass for the win.
So yeah, I think what happened there was Drew had to check up, or something happened up there with Drew, and Josh had to check up and almost got into him, and then I got in the back of Josh, and luckily enough, they went back and looked through, and I think Tyler wound up saying that it was kind of like a racing deal, but also I think Josh kind of claimed the wreck. But yeah, I was kind of devastated at first, because like, man, we drove through the field there one time because we pitted. I think we got hit. I slowed down for a wreck to try to let everybody get gathered back up, and then I got hit by Apollo in the back and spun around, and then we got going again, but I drove down pit road just to make sure I didn't kill my tires or anything like that, so I'd have a better set of tires for that next restart. And we kind of got back there a little ways, and I mean, like you said, this setup was on rails. Like we could drive it. Like if we wanted to go up to the high side, we could go to the high side. If we wanted to go to the bottom, we could go to the bottom. And we drove all the way back up there. I think at the time Josh was like 5th or something like that. We were right there at the front, and we got into the back of him, and I was devastated. I was like, dang, 15 laps to go. We're not going to restart until like 12 laps to go or 11 laps to go, whatever it was. I was like, I'm going to have to really, really grind. So we put our nose to the stone. We pointed in the right direction. We had a couple people who were generous enough. They knew we were coming. They knew we were faster. And they kind of just gave us that bottom line and allowed us to make our moves up there. And then we got up there, and I think there was another wreck there with like right at 5 to go, right before we hit the point of no return. There was a caution, and we were able to get by Will coming through. I think through 3 and 4, we were under Will, and we weren't sure if we cleared him or not. Will wasn't sure if we cleared him or not either, but I felt like it looked like, looking at the F2, that I was ahead of him right when they threw the yellow. So we stayed there in second, and yeah, there at those last couple laps, I knew Apollo, they were going to keep that bottom line on the restart, because you can't make a move until you get past the start finish line. So I knew our car could do it. I knew that we could make the move on the high side. I wasn't expecting to get loose with 1 lap to go. I thought it was going to stick up there and we were going to be able to power off the turn. We got a little bit loose, but we were able to keep our ground and not really lose any speed. And coming there 3 and 4, I knew he was going to keep the bottom, and I just went to the top and just little bit, just squeezed him just enough to get that momentum off the turn. And once we got off the turn, I knew I had it because like I said, this thing could turn so well off the center, and it could just power down the straightaway.
Absolutely, and just that last lap pass, that last corner pass was a thing of beauty. We were talking about it with Apollo, just the amount of side-by-side last lap pass finishes we've had here, and not only fuel here in 2026, but also, the fast RPCS. We were talking about that a little bit earlier on, of course, Sunday night. A little bit more chaos than the last lap we had here tonight with Josh and Zach Rogers getting turned around there on the final lap. But here in the Fuel Grand National, even just Fuel, for including sportsmen in general, even throwing the Super Speedway Series in there as well, we've had so many exciting finishes, and that's just a product of just the amount of talent we have got here in Fuel and, of course, in Fast as well. You and Tyler and Apollo and Ike, you guys just put on such a great product across these both of these leagues. And it's just really an honor to be able to broadcast you guys to a wider spectrum here on YouTube.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, last year, I think it was last year, they ran North Wilkesboro in the All-Star race, and we just came out here and kind of flexed the muscle and went out there and won. And you know, from that season to where they're at now, um, they've brought in a lot of really good competition, a lot of really great drivers. I was kind of upset a couple weeks ago at Bent Twig when I came over here to race. Wasn't expecting the race that I guess we can call that a race, but
Devolve.
yeah. But tonight it was one of those things where you could see like how well everybody has really improved, how competitive it's gotten. Um, and it makes it fun. I had the most fun going from the back all the way to the front and just racing with people, the etiquette that they showed and everything, and just the general way of like giving room, being respectful. I mean, yes, you're going to have wrecks and stuff, but there was a lot of give and take, and a lot of people have really, really grew over here. And I think Tyler has done a really great job with that, being able to put on that show each and every week with this group of people, and just to be able to come in here and race from time to time. It makes it a little bit of fun because you come in here, you're racing with a lot of people that you don't race with on a regular basis. So to be able to come out here and see that competitiveness, see what everybody else is capable of, especially with open setups, that's where it really makes it fun.
It definitely was a lot of fun here tonight watching you guys beat and bang, especially on that final restart. And again, like you were talking about, just the amount of talent we've been able to bring in here to the Fuel Racing League has been paramount in the last year. And of course, if anybody is watching this that is interested in joining the Fuel Racing League and the Fast Racing League as well, the links for both Discords are going to be down in the description box below. Particularly for the Fuel Racing League, that's going to be in the description box for this video. You go back to the previous live stream from Sunday, you'll see the Discord server for the Fast Racing League Discord server. So much talent here between all of you guys. It's just a fun time watching you guys watching you guys race around here on a Wednesday and Sunday nights. But Crystal, you got anything for our winner here tonight before we get out of Dodge?
Yeah, I thought you were, in all honesty, I thought you were out of it there at the end. I do think you got a little bit lucky with that late race yellow. But aside from that, you had a strong run, very up and down. You think we're gonna see you again to close out the season?
I don't know yet. Tyler's kind of got me a little bit interested in Iowa. That's one of our other tracks that we really, really like racing at. I know he said it was going to be Chassis Zero, but if I remember correctly, the last time we ran Chassis Zero over here was at Richmond, and I will give Apollo a little bit of a shout out on this. We were a little bit off when we ran that race at Richmond with Chassis Zero until they mentioned about their tire pressures.
You
and
got to
the
run
difference of the
60s all
tire
the way
pressure.
around.
Yeah. And as soon as I changed mine, that thing was on rails. So with the type of track that Richmond is, it's very similar to Iowa. It might have to be marked on my calendar to come back over here and run again. So hopefully, if not, I'm sure there's going to be some races down the road here in the next season that's going to be a little bit interesting for us to come out here and uh, rub some paint with some people. So hopefully we'll see.
Well, it's
Well,
always
we'd
a
love to see you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you here, Randall. And races just become just a little bit more interesting when you've got a mechanical rabbit that everybody's just trying to chase, like you've become. And it's just been incredible to watch you guys and just you and Josh Moyers come over here and really just put on some really great racing with everybody else as well. And it's been so much fun to watch you guys here over the last couple of weeks. But Randall, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody else you want to shout out here on the NES Ran, we know first and foremost who your first shout out's going to be. But without further ado, we'll give you the floor to thank who you want to. And hey, for our race winner here tonight, Randall Coleman, the floor is yours.
I throw a curveball since you said that. No, I'm just kidding. But nah, I'll give a shout out to my girlfriend for letting me come over here and race. I actually was at a basketball game prior to this. I was playing basketball. Got done, got in the truck, and drove over here so I could get in here and race. 10 minutes left in practice. We got on here, and like I said, it was a good thing that we ran this track before. We kind of knew what we had, so not as stressful to show up last minute, but can't thank her enough for letting me come over here and race. She puts up with me every weekend when I come on here and race so fast. So big shout out to her. Shout out to you and Crystal for putting on the show, broadcasting this race for Tyler and them at Fuel. Big field tonight. Great racing with everybody. I want to give a shout out to my guys. Tyler, Josh was here tonight. I know Zach's not over here racing with us, but those people each week and week out, they push me to come out here and try to do the best I can and be competitive at the level that I can be at. So I gotta give all of them a shout out. They motivate me each and every week. Gotta give a shout out to Napa, even though they weren't on the car tonight. We did have HendrickCars.com instead of ColemanCars.com, but we'll give a little bit of a display for Hendrick. Every now and then, putting that 17 car in victory lane is a pretty cool thing to do too. So a little bit different from the 9 car, but hey, still looks good in victory lane.
It absolutely does. It doesn't matter what you drive in a victory circle. It could be a baked potato on wheels, and it would still look pretty damn good in victory circle drinking some champagne. But Randall, congratulations once again on your first win of the season, your 6th career win. And we'll go ahead and let you celebrate with your guys, and we'll see you Sunday night for the playoff open, the chase opener from the from North Wilkesboro, right back here at the Boro for the Fast RPCS race number 9 of segment number 2 here at 2026. But until Sunday night, have a good rest of your week, dude, and we'll see you later.
Sounds good. And yeah, like I said, this weekend, North Wilkesboro again, fast racing league should be very, very fun. But I do want to throw one thing out there. I heard Apollo earlier talking about his success at Indianapolis and whatnot. I'm not going to be here next Wednesday to see how it goes, but when you all get out there to broadcast that race, keep an eye on that 68 car. He is Mr. Indianapolis for a reason. That's what we call him at Fast. So that man knows how to get around that track. And being that it's the in-game track, you're going to probably see a strong showing from that 68 car.
Well, definitely going to have to be Josh Moore. It's going to be one to watch here next week, and we'll have to see how that all plays out. But, Randall, thank you so much for coming on here on the broadcast tonight. We'll let you go celebrate with your team, and we'll see you next Sunday here, right back here in Wilkes County.
Sounds good.
Have a good night, man.
User was moved
That
out
was
of
Randall
your
Coleman,
channel.
driver of the number 17 Hendrick Cars /ColemanCars.com Chevrolet Camaro for Revolution Motorsports. Your winner here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, leading only a handful of laps here tonight. He did lead the opening handful. He led 27 of the 75 laps here this evening, so just over a third of the way. And he is your race winner here after a wild and chaotic 9th race of the season with 2 races to go in season number 9. Crystal, your final thoughts before we'll get out of Dodge and close things up here. Going into what's going to be an exciting race at Indianapolis for several reasons. Number 1, it's Indianapolis. It's the Brickyard. It's always an exciting affair. But number 2, we've got one hell of a championship battle between Apollo Hyde and Will Goss going into the final fortnight of Season 9.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to being back in the car next week. I'm already working on my setup, and I'm pretty happy with how it's coming along so far. So it's going to be a great race, I think.
Definitely is going to be a great race, and that'll be coming at your way this upcoming Wednesday night on July 22nd at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But between that night and the next night, we've got so much action coming up here for you with the NASRN. Of course, we've got don't have any NBCS this weekend, so we're off for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series in terms of offline racing up until in 2 weekends' time. For the race at Indianapolis on July 25th. But we've got the Fast RPCS race in North Wilkesboro this Sunday night during the Window World 450 from North Wilkesboro during the Cup race. So we'll have to see how that's going to shake out. You know, knowing NASCAR's luck and knowing North Wilkesboro's luck, there's going to be a rain delay at North Wilkesboro that's going to completely mess everything up. But that'll be coming at your way next Sunday night right here on the NASRM. Before we officially get out of Dodge, we'll go through the final running order tonight with Randall Coleman, who led 27 laps on the evening, winning by 100 or a tenth of a second over Apollo Hyde, who finished in the second position. Will Goss got the most laps led here tonight. He also led it halfway, so that gap between the 100 and the 82 is going to be around the 5-point mark going into the Brickyard in 1 week's time. But Will Goss in the 82 finished in third. RJ Bishop finished in fourth, and Victor Nunez rounded out the top 5. Joshua Moyers, Mr. Indianapolis, watching out for him next week. He finished in 6th. Vincenzo Focusato, despite flipping twice in this race, rebounded to finish in 7th. Drew Fast, after some late race issues, finished in 8th. Minnie Minister finished in 9th, and Nikki Conti rounded out the top 10. Tate Dorsey finished in 11th. Brent Warren was 12th. Blake Warren was 13th. Rich Roy was 14th. Ike Durbin rounded out the top 15. Yahir Alvarado was 16th. Trek Togger finished in 17th. Joshua Mercurio was 18th. Corey Stolhood was 19th. And Corbin Wentz rounded out the top 20. Ace Racer was 21st, and rounding out the 22-car grid with a post-race penalty was Tyler Stolhood, who finished in the 22nd spot. But that is going to do it for tonight's broadcast here of the Fuel Grand National Series, race number 9 for the North Wilkesboro Speedway. On behalf of my broadcasting partners here tonight, for Crystal Bennett and Kenny Campos, and for everybody that makes these broadcasts possible here on the NASRN, for Tyler Stolhood, for Ike Durbin, for Apollo Hyde, for Randall Coleman over the Fast Racing League, for everybody that makes these productions possible, we thank you. With only a handful of races to go in season number 9 for the Fuel Grand National Series, season number 9, but on behalf of everybody, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long for now from North Wilkesboro. We'll be back here on Sunday night for the Fast RPCS, but until then, from the North Wilkesboro Speedway, this concludes tonight's broadcast here of the Fuel Grand National Series. Have a good evening. We'll see you back here on Sunday night.